video, we're going to talk all about art shows. I'm starting off the new year here in my home studio by prepping one of my paintings for the first art show of the year. My first art show of the year is hosted by The Drawing Room. They did an open call, which means anyone can submit their paintings, and we were asked to respond to what sanctuary means to us. San Francisco was historically a sanctuary city, but under the current administrative regime, the Bay feels anything but safe. With ICE in our communities and the senseless murders of Renee Nicole Good, Keith Porter, Alex Preddy, and the countless deaths in ICE custody. I was so grateful to be selected for the show with this specific painting. It's called Monarch Braids, and it's a 36-inch by 24-inch acrylic painting on canvas. This piece was from last July in response to some of the first anti-ICE mobilization actions I went to back in June. I was inspired by monarch butterflies, which have long been a symbol for migration as a natural and necessary right for survival. I also wanted this to be a tribute to braiding hair because it's an intimate labor of love that is full of cultural styling and practices that are passed down across generations. This painting is a tribute to the hands, hair, and journeys that we inherit from our ancestors, and it's also a reminder to take care of each other. Like a lot of us here, I'm a daughter of immigrants, but I really don't need to be in order to feel that everyone deserves a right to live and to seek a better life. I know art alone isn't going to solve all or any of the issues in the world right now, but it is a way for us to respond, to feel, and to take action. If you've been feeling upset about what's going on and are looking for more ways to resist and contribute to abolishing ICE, you can try attending some local actions, calling your legislators to demand change with apps like 5Calls, fundraising, boycotting, and more. I'll drop a link to some resources around the Bay Area. I got a chance to check out the opening night of the show, which was really cool. The space was packed, and a lot of the artists who were in the show were also just hanging out and floating around. I loved seeing everyone's response to the theme, also seeing some art by my friend Tim here. I loved reading about their inspirations, frustrations, and dreams of what sanctuary could look like. I also found out later on that my painting had sold, so just like that, she's off to her new home where, like all the other pieces in the show, I hope she'll be a reminder of our feelings and hopes during these tough times. Hi! Both Ink and I are here right now. So, yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Liz. If we haven't met before, I'm an artist based in San Francisco. I'm also a part-time student at my local community college taking art classes for free, thanks to the Free City Tuition program. What else do? I also do art shows, pop-up events, vending all across the Bay Area. I also run a Patreon with monthly snail mail rewards in the form of stickers and prints like this, a puppet here. And you can support me there if you're looking for my work. Okay, so getting into the nitty-gritty of how to actually apply to a show and what that whole process looks like, I'm gonna talk through this as if I'm an artist, I'm interested in being a part of a show. There's 5 main steps that I've seen in almost every group art show that I've applied to and been a part of. You're gonna start with a submission step, then there's a selection, then you are installing, and then there's the actual show, which is the really fun part, and then you're deinstalling and it's all done. With the submission process, this can either be an open call. Open call basically means that anyone can apply. The second way that submission happens is if the show is curated, and that just means that the gallery or the organizers already know who they want and the pieces that they want that are a part of the show, and they will reach out to you and ask if you're interested. I've also seen some examples where the gallery is open to you submitting just like a rough sketch of what you might finish in case you don't already have a finished piece yet. I'm a visual learner, so I'm gonna bring out this example. And usually this is done in a Google form or some kind of like online application system where you share your name, maybe your artist statement, and that's like a quick blurb about who you are, the kind of work you do, a link to your portfolio and socials where it's applicable, and then when you get to talking about the piece, I'm gonna share the title, the medium, the year it was made, and then the price I'd like to sell this piece at. For me, the title is called You Remembered for this painting. It is an acrylic and colored pencil piece done on wood canvas at a 16 by 20 inch size. The year it was made was 2025, and I want to sell it for however many dollars. A side note on price, when you are deciding what to price your piece at, you want to keep in mind what the gallery's commission is, or if they have a hang fee as well. So the most familiar models of gallery commissions I've worked with are going to be 50-50, 60-40, or in more rare cases like 70-30. And the first number I'm saying is the percentage that goes to me as the artist. The reason for these fees is to help fund the gallery, to help pay their employees and make sure it can run. They also usually do a lot of marketing and they pay rent on the spaces that you're exhibiting. So if the split is something you're not comfortable with or you're not making enough at the end of the day, that's also a totally fair reason to not take a certain opportunity too. So that's on submitting. The next step is the selection step. This is where you need to practice a little bit of emotional resilience. So it's a bit of just a waiting game. There's nothing that you can really do in this period. If you get an email saying you're not part of the show, then you're not part of the show, and you can just say thank you and move on. And a lot of the times this just means maybe you aren't a good fit for this particular theme. Maybe you're not a good fit for the gallery. It does not mean you give up and throw all your art away and you feel miserable, although it's very tempting to, and I have definitely felt very sad from rejection. I think that's really normal. I think just take it in stride. If you are accepted, there will be an email usually with a lot of details about the next steps. Also where if there's any paperwork like a contract or something called an MOU, very important that you read it and that you sign it, and then you are in contract with the gallery for the show. And now is also a good time to be asking the gallery any questions you might have about the pricing, logistics, and how the show is going to go. After that, we get to the actual installing. If it's a local show, you can go drop it off in person. This is why some galleries have a hang fee, because it takes a lot of time and labor. Ready to hang basically means that the piece has some kind of hardware on the back of it so that it's very easy to install on the wall. I use D-rings and metal wire because that's just been the easiest thing for me to use. There's sawtooth, there's other nails. That's kind of the process if it's a local drop-off. Wrapping it up in paper so that your piece doesn't get damaged along the way is kind of a smart approach. I've only shipped smaller 8x10 framed gouache paintings before to a more distant gallery. This was for a gallery in LA called Chunky LA in Chinatown. They're also an art and gift shop. Really cute stuff. I mailed out that piece for a show there, and that one sold, so I didn't have to worry about shipping it back. But yeah, just keep in mind the shipping costs if you're doing anything that is not just a local drop-off. Step 4 is showing. This is the fun part. If you are a participating artist, there's usually an opening night or a pop-up reception for the first day that the show opens. All the artists that are a part of the show are invited to come, so you get to meet other people. You get to meet the organizer. There's community members that come out. There's collectors who might be buying art. And there's also usually little drinkies and snacks at these. I always come home from these feeling both a rush of excitement and inspiration, and yeah, it's a really cool experience. The last step is deinstalling, and similar to installing, more of the work is on the gallery and organizer side, where they are taking stuff off the walls. If your work has sold at any point while you are in contract with the galleries, most of the time the gallery will handle the sales, and then they give you your split of the commission money, and then the buyer gets to go home happy with their new art piece. And if your piece doesn't sell, or you did not want to make it for sale, you are responsible for picking it back up from the gallery once the show is over. Even if you don't sell the piece, oftentimes you get hit with some rejection sensitivity. I'm here to tell you, I've done many shows where the piece didn't sell or I wasn't interested in having it for sale, and it's still such a great experience to be a part of it. You still get to meet a lot of amazing people. You get to build relationships and connections with galleries and new artists in the community that can lead you to so many other things after. Either way, you can walk out of it with so much gratitude and so much learning. When we get to organizing art shows, this is where things are super, super, super different. So we're gonna have to hit rewind for this part. I'm gonna pass it over to voice over me, and we're gonna get into what it was like to organize my first duo art show with my friend Carolyn for the show Hold Me Close. I'm going to take us way back to January 2025, where we sent our first email to a space that I had been involved in before for past art things with our vision for a friendship and intimacy themed art show. The gallery graciously said yes to hosting us, and Carolyn and I got straight to work. First, the theme. We really wanted the show to be a love letter to our experiences with friendship, the good, the bad, the precious memories in between. It also kind of felt like a full circle moment since Carolyn and I first started meeting and hanging out doing art stuff around the city, and this was going to be our last show and event together before she had to move to the East Coast for grad school. We knew early on that having our creative community be a part of it would be important to both of us, so we planned for the show to have a pop-up for our opening reception where we'd invite our friends to come vend and share their art. Next came the vision. Both Carolyn and I are 2D artists with a mix of digital, gouache, and acrylic paintings. A big piece of the show and marketing the show also is the poster, where we ended up illustrating this piece together as a mix of both of our styles. This is probably the closest I've collaborated with someone before, where Carolyn and I were literally passing one iPad back and forth to each other, working on the illustration that would become our show poster. Carolyn loves fashion and drew her hand adorned with gorgeous Vivienne Westwood-inspired pieces, and then I drew my hand with my tattoo on my wrist and the rings that I wear every single day. The color theme also is very much speaking to the bright, saturated colors that we already love to use in both of our palettes, as well as really celebrating femme friendship and girlhood. To prepare the artwork for distribution, we added a QR code so people could scan it for our Eventbrite link, and also translated the flyers into both Chinese and Spanish so that they could be more accessible to the local community and the preferred languages of the businesses in the area. With the help of the gallery and our community members, we were able to flyer across the neighborhood, and it was so sweet anytime a friend would text me or I'd be walking down the street and see our posters lined up in all of the windows of the businesses nearby. As soon as we kind of locked in around when we were planning to host the show, there's all sorts of things that we needed to build a work back plan from and then detail out for every month between January and July, when we'd eventually host the show. What were some of the main milestones we needed to make sure we finished at each month. It also helped Carolyn and I keep a running checklist and not feel so overwhelmed at the start, while also making sure we do not miss critical. As we got closer to the date, we organized our vendor details, created all the graphics for online marketing and physical flyering. Okay, and now the art. This feels like the biggest part of the show after all the logistics, all the setup. There's a lot of time that we go back to our home studios and we just make the art. So it's the most important part creatively. I, for some reason, decided to chaotically paint 9 new original paintings for the show with just a little over 2 months of prep time. I was really pulling from these nostalgic memories from high school and college age friendships, where there's this feeling of really wanting to belong, because I think at that age we're all just figuring ourselves out. We really don't know each other and we don't know ourselves very well. So this piece, Track Girls, was inspired by my experience in team sports growing up. I played a lot of soccer. I also did some track and field. And there's a lot of expectation to be really close with your team. Everyone is best friends. You spend, hours and hours with each other every week. I wanted to capture this feeling of trying to show up for this group of friends where in your heart you're not part of the group, you're not one of them, but even logically knowing that, you still deeply, deeply crave to be seen and understood and cared by them. Especially when we're younger, there's just so much insecurity about who we are and if we're enough for people to care about us. And despite the discomfort and the social anxiety and the insecurities that we're feeling, we are still gonna put ourselves out there, because on the chance that we feel seen and connected and cared for, that makes it all worth it. Our intent with the show was to capture that range of feelings. So yeah, that's just a little backstory on this one. Back into the process. Once we finished all of the paintings for the show, we had to write artist statements, we had to write descriptions for all the pieces and prepare each one for hanging. I learned how to install D-rings for the first time, how to work on really tight deadlines to get the paintings done. Together, Carolyn and I then arranged how we display and balance the pieces and put them up on the walls. We did this by taking measurements and a lot of pictures of the space in order to plan the layout in Figma. You can use, Procreate or whatever other software. But in total, we had 18 pieces that we installed. So definitely recommend doing a digital layout first. It'll save you so much time when the day comes. When we were thinking about how to redecorate the space, we wanted the room to feel like an extension of our poster illustration. So we decorated the space with little star paper cutouts. We DIY'd some pink peony flower bouquets. We brought little trinkets from our home, made little stickers that people could take home with them. And I also used the hands that we drew in our poster illustration to make these giant cutouts with foam board and sticker paper. Those hands would also be used for our community wall, which was just like a small interactive portion of the show where people could talk about what makes them feel like home. And then Carolyn made this amazing twinkle animation looping GIFs so that the show details and our vendor info and their handles could be visible at all times. And this just looped on a TV that was already in the space while we put on a playlist that I think is like 5 to 6 hours long that Carolyn and I made, full of music that we carefully curated for the night. Snacks that we put out were based on our nostalgic childhood favorites. So when the day came for the actual pop-up night, our friends who were vending came in a bit earlier and got set up while Carolyn and I kind of raced around the room to finish all the decor details with help from other friends who came early. And before we knew it, opening night had started and people were piling in from the neighborhood, from the plant shop across the street, from friends and co-workers and family who drove over an hour to come to the show. And I lost a falsie at some point at the show. I call it the fallen sister. And it was just so rewarding to be in the space, see the show come to life, see all our friends doing their thing and sharing their art with the world. All the parts that are much harder to show in this video that obviously we don't have any footage of are the countless hours that me, Carolyn, and Rosendo, the gallery organizer, put in behind the scenes over countless emails and spreadsheets, many site visits, and just a lot of in-person building time. It also doesn't include the countless hours that our friends who were vending, some of them for the very first time, spent taking time to create their art, prepare for the show, spend the entire night with us, and support us so much in the weeks leading up to the big day. I'm so lucky to have been able to do this with my friends and feel so held and loved by the community. Especially Carolyn, I will always be grateful for her attention to detail, her love of craft and whimsical art, and how she's made me both a better artist and friend. In case all of that yapping didn't answer any of your tangible questions, you can always leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to you. This was my first time organizing a show like this, so definitely learned so much on the job. And I think everyone's experience, especially with organizing shows, looks so different because we all have different tastes and visions and constraints. And this was a little bit about ours and how we made it happen. Okay, back to vlog me. Bye-bye. Hi again. We're almost done with the vlog, but I thought to close out, I would pick out 3 of my favorite paintings that have been in art shows in the last year and just talk a little bit more about them. Introducing the first one, this one's called You Remembered. This one's the one I used in the examples earlier. It is mostly acrylic paint and a little bit of colored pencil for the details inside the piece. It was painted on a wood canvas, and I love painting on wood because it feels really buttery and smooth. This piece I painted originally for the Hold Me Close show that I did with Carolyn last year. It was actually the final painting that I did for the show. I'm pretty sure I finished it a couple days before we needed to bring it to the gallery to install, so deadlines help. They're hanging out in a parking lot of a gas station. The main focus and inspiration behind this piece was how our friends can meet us in some of our lowest moments, oftentimes just bringing something really simple like our favorite snack. When we remember those little details about each other, it can make us feel really seen and heard, especially when we're in our most vulnerable moments. You just want to prolong the time that you have together with a little stop on the way home. I think some of the best conversations I've had have happened in cars or have happened in that time and space where we're not quite ready to go home yet, and we just want to be in each other's company a little bit longer. So yeah, that is this piece. So this piece is called Sichuan Summers. Like the title says, it's inspired by the summers I spent as a little kid visiting Sichuan, China, where all of my extended family is from and where my parents immigrated from. In the US, it's my cousin, my sister, and my mom and dad. We don't have any other relatives who have moved out here, and my parents came from a city where most generations of the family and most of their like elementary school and middle school friends all stayed in that city. So this piece is kind of my way of storing that memory of what it was like to feel the intense summer heat, the warmth of having all my relatives around, especially because many have since passed. And I wasn't able to visit that much between like high school and the end of college, and then when COVID hit, it delayed our visits like even further. I think my favorite part to paint in this piece was the sausages that are hanging out in the background. I'll try to bring it closer. My family makes sausages and smoked meats from scratch, and in Sichuan and I think a lot of parts of China, people don't really use dryers because it is like just more efficient and cheaper to hang dry your clothing most of the time. And we would joke that in the windows in America, you get to look out and see the view. The windows in China are full of sausages and clothing being dried. So yeah, I really wanted to capture that. This isn't like a specific living room that I've been in, but it's kind of a combination of all my hazy memories of all the homes that my relatives have and that I've spent time in with them together. I think I have a lot of anxiety about forgetting and losing connection with my family that lives abroad, especially because my language skills are deteriorating by the day. And a side note, the ointment that's featured in the front is Fengyojing. It's like a cooling ointment that my grandma always applied to my bug bites growing up when I was a kid, because I got that sweet, sweet American blood and I got bit all the time. I was constantly itchy whenever I was visiting. So she would rub that on a cotton ball and sometimes even on like a celery stick that she'd cut open, and then apply it to all my bug bites, and there was like this feeling of instant soothing relief. So yeah, this one's definitely more memory driven and color driven, and the rest of the scene kind of played out as a result of combining all the memories of the living rooms that I spent time in as a kid. And I forgot to mention, this piece is acrylic painting on canvas. This was the first personal painting where I felt like I was applying everything I was learning in my beginning painting class at CCSF too, including the types of paints I bought and used and mixed for this painting. So the last one that I'm going to talk through, she's so large. I think this is an 18 by 24. It is acrylic and a little bit of colored pencil on canvas, if you're sensing a theme here. Yes, I do have a favorite set of tools and mediums. This one was inspired by some of my memories of friendship, more in like middle and high school. The only ticket to hanging out that I got was if it was based around studying and homework. So under the guise of studying, I would be able to see my friends more often. It's also based in an insecurity I had in myself and in my friendships growing up, where I thought that I needed to provide some kind of value, or there needed to be like a goal for us spending time together in order for people to want to see me or hang out with me. And for me, it was easiest to center that around studying and homework. Not only did it feel like productive to my little brain at the time, but it also meant that I didn't have to say things like, hey, I like your company, I want to be your friend, I want to spend time with you. I also just didn't believe that people would want to spend time with me if there was nothing else going on. You'll see the shrimp chips pop up again. I like to paint this in a lot of my scenes as a snack. I don't even eat it that much anymore, but it was definitely like a big childhood snack for me. The blue raspberry Gatorade in particular also pops up in a lot of paintings. I'll try to add in some snippets of Easter eggs here. I played soccer growing up. Hugging the like blue raspberry Gatorade was like a godsend for me. It would snap me out of it. All that sugar would just put me back in the game. This one is definitely speaking to a younger version of me who didn't know that people would want to hang out just to hang out. So yeah, I like to say we've healed and unlearned that a little bit, but that's the context behind this one. I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here. I've talked your ear off and shared a ton of information. If I forgot anything, please feel free to just like leave a comment, or if there's more stuff you want to hear about, I'll try to cover it in the next video. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope this helps you get into your first art show or inspires you to host your own if that's something you've always wanted to do. Thank you again so much. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.